With myself, I have like a background in media production. So when I've been in education, the very first thing they drill in you is get a good show reel. Anything you do, archive, anything you do, get the copy. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it really is a. In fact, I was very fortunate. When I was in America, I actually found a very good person who made a terrific show reel for me out of my work, and I brought it back to England. And my agents then, unbeknownst to me, but they would show it. They'd show my show reel to younger actors to say, "This is what you should go for. This is the sort of show reel that you want to make." So I found out that later, which I was really touched by that they'd done that.
That is wonderful to hear. Actually, hearing about this, I'm very interested in your time in America. Can I ask, when was that, and what kind of shows did you do whilst you were out there?
I was out there in about trying to think, 95. I went out to make a movie. I went out to make the Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Yes.
Jim Carrey, and that was about 95. And because I'd split with I wasn't married, but I split with my lady
partner at the time, right?
And so it gave me an opportunity to stay there. So I then stayed. I had a friend of mine called Christopher Munger who lived in LA, and he directed me in a movie called The Englishman Who Went Uphill and Came Down a Mountain, which he wrote and directed, which is a terrific Welsh movie that we did together with Grant. And that, so he was out there. So I had a good friend of mine who lived in LA, and so I stayed for 10 years, really. And during that period, I did quite a lot of work there, but also I did an awful lot of, what was funny is that you would go up for interviews for miniseries that were being done in Europe at the time, because in Europe became the sort of Hollywood of that land. And it started with Hungary, then it moved to Prague, then it moved to Bulgaria, and it's extraordinary. You know, you do stuff in one country, then you finally go to another, then to another. So they all undercut each other, and eventually went back to Hungary again after it had gone around the circuit. But it's like, so I would go up for miniseries that were being done in Europe, in Los Angeles, and then get them, and then they say, "Oh, would you mind if we took you from England to save you getting a plane fare?"
Wow.
So you'd have to find, they'd fly me from London, but they wouldn't fly me from LA, which was a joke. But I did lots of stuff like, you know, sort of Spartacus. I did Dune. I did all sorts of things like that. Lots of miniseries that I did in Europe that was started in LA. I did a movie called The Life Less Ordinary, which we did in Utah with Danny Boyle.
Yes.
He directed that, Life Less Ordinary, with Cameron Diaz and Holly Hunter and Ewan McGregor. That was a terrific movie. And I did a wonderful movie for Paramount, going through the wonderful gate at Paramount called The Beautician and the Beast with Fran Drescher.
Wow.
Terrific movie, very, very funny. So I did lots of stuff like that and some odd TV bits in here and there. So yeah, so quite a collection of things while I was out there.
Oh, absolutely. And then I'm just going to put a timeline together here. Would you have come back in the early 2000s? Is that right? Or would it have been a bit before that?
Yeah, I came back about 2004. I then got a job. I then got a job as a one-off job. I thought, well, you know, this is a nice little gig. You know, I'll go down to Cornwall and I'll do the little show. You know, for a 8-episode show, it'd be fun to do, playing this plumber called Bert Large. And good God, 14 years later, I'm still playing the same character after. You know, next year we start doing the 10th series. It's unbelievable. So that started around about 2004. That's when I started to come back to England.
Right.
That show, I was doing more and more work here.
I was going to say, when I mentioned to my family that I was interviewing
Oh,
Ian
don't tell me
McNeice.
it's your
Yeah.
grandmother or your mother. Let's
Oh
just,
no, just like
that's what I
my
get all the time.
siblings, you know.
Yeah, I get really pretty good. It used to crack me up at conventions because this, these really pretty girls would come up and say, "Oh, can I have a selfie with you?" I said, "Great." And can I have a photograph? I said, "What would you like done? What's your name?" "Oh, no. It's for my grandmother." What can it be for you, for God's sake?
I
It
know.
was always the burnt large photographs were always
Yeah.
for the grandmother or the mother. Yeah. What were you going to say about your
I was going to say
family?
my whole family was saying we love Doc Martin.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, I can remember very briefly you were in Valkyrie. Obviously, you're in Doctor Who. My YouTube
Yeah.
channel is mainly about
Yeah.
Doctor Who. But I could briefly ask you about the experience of Valkyrie, if that's okay, making a movie
That
like that.
was amazing. Yeah. No, I mean, I actually went in to meet the director and the writer, Brian Singer,
Yes.
in a hotel in the West End, and he had his writer in there too, and they were both in there. And so I sat down and we had a little chat. I said, "Well, actually, the thing is this: there's another actor outside who I work with. He's waiting to come in too, and we both worked on a show called Conspiracy." I said, which is a sort of the movie about the Wannsee Conference in which we played Nazis. In fact, we come with our own costumes, so you can have it like that. And the writer said, "I've got it on my laptop." And Brian Singer said, "I've seen it 6 times." And they said, "And we want you to play this role." I said, "Well, don't give it to anybody else because I'm doing it. I'm yours." So that was a nice little interview to do, really, to get that. And then, of course, there was the day I turned up on the set and met Tom Cruise for the first time. And there he is. And you have all this sort of history about people saying, "Oh, don't look at him in the eyes. He hates being looked in the eyes," and all the rest of it. It's all rubbish. He came up to me and he has this thing that you have that I'd imagine presidents have, which is this extraordinary charisma where he just looks at you straight in the eyes and he focuses on you for that moment in time. And he really sort of stays with you. Doesn't look at anybody else. He looks at you in the eyes and discusses what he's discussing. In my case, he was saying, "I loved you in this, I loved you in that." Now, whether he'd seen anything, didn't matter. He'd obviously got all his assistants to say, "Oh, you're going to meet Ian McNeice today, so he was in this, this, and this. So you want to mention that, so fine, But he stays with you for that length of time, and it's almost like he's defying anybody else to come up and he's saying, "Leave me alone while I stay with this person here." And then he moved on, and it was the most extraordinary moment because you realize that it's quite a gift there. It's and it must be a presidential gift, which people in power of so much power have that moment where they lock you, they stay with you for that length of time.
You hear people say that about like meeting the Pope and stuff like that as well. It feels like there's undivided,
And he had that, and he was really good to work with. I mean, he was very good to work. I mean, the thing about it is that they all have this. He has his way of doing things. He has this huge power on set that really. So everybody's gathered together, and you rehearse, then you go away while they do the lighting, then you come back to do the shoot. And as you come back, he requires everybody to be in place before he comes back in. But he's the last one to appear on the set, right? That you can hear all the people with walkie-talkies saying, "He's left his trailer, he's coming down, he's going down the hall. Yeah, he's going to be entering the set any minute now." You can hear all this going on in that. And there was this one day where this panic went on, where they couldn't find Tom Wilkinson.
Oh.
And they were just about to shoot, and they got him coming in. So there was Tom Cruise coming in, and Tom Wilkinson couldn't be found. Eventually, Cruise arrives on set. He hasn't got Tom, so they have to wait until Tom comes in. And Tom comes in at that point. Cruise, normally it's left up to the assistant director, the first assistant director, to say, "Turn over." But at this point, as Tom came into the room, Cruise said, "Turn over."
Oh.
And it was such a chilling moment that it was almost like saying, "Don't fuck with me. Don't get me here. Don't get me here. Don't let me wait for anybody." It was such a sort of chilling little moment, I have to say. So, that's the power of the guy.
Fascinating. Would you put him up there, because you've mentioned that you worked with a number of great actors there, like Ewan McGregor, you said, Cameron Diaz, etc. Would you put him up there with the actors you have worked with personally?
I've been so lucky. I mean, over the years, to have worked with, people like him. I did 84 Charing Cross with Anthony Hopkins, White Noise, Michael Keaton, Johnny Depp. I worked with on From Hell. I just worked with a lot of people. Colin Firth, I did Velma with. A lot of good actors. And he's certainly top. He's Sean Connery on oh goodness me, that was a movie, The Russia House. That's right.
Yes.
So a lot of these movies, a lot of these actors, it's been a real sort of a privilege to work with these guys over the years. And Cruise is certainly up there.
Wow, wonderful.
Ron Beatty, I work with on A Town and Country with. So very fortunate to work with all these guys, and terrific directors, Milos Forman, of course, and people, Danny Boyle, who I rate hugely.
Of course, one of the best to come from here, I'd say.
Yeah, and Peter Chelson was terrific as well on Funny Bones and Town and Country. He's a great little English director who lives in America now. Anyway, that's a lot of them do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great stuff. I'm very glad I asked about that. I wasn't expecting as much about Tom Cruise. I know that he's a very enigmatic person, so it's very interesting to hear